Well, hello, I'm Ron Dunker, Head of Business Development here at Oaken, and thank you for opening this video and watching. Or this is just going to be a short, brief talk. And what really got me thinking about this topic was the last season here this winter and earlier this part of 2026, late 2025 and early part of 2026. We had the privilege and honor of really interacting with a lot of different growers at a lot of different events, different land entities that own land or rent land, lease land across the United States. And so we learned a lot from those interactions, and I thought it'd be really nice for us to put together this. What I'm pointing to here is, do you have a plan to control your land and your leases, the land that you lease for the next 30 years? And I just thought it would be a really interesting topic because when we had our conversations with the growers like yourself or others in the that leased land. They said, Ron, we have a great agreement with our landowners that we work with. We've had a 25-year agreement with them, a 30-year agreement with them, and we're good, And I said, oh, that is great because it does. It takes a lot of hard work to build those relationships, get the management terms the way you want them. All that work you've put into the ground from a pure management standpoint to make it productive, keep the fertility, all those different aspects, tiling, all those different aspects that you've done on their land to boost your yield and your overall success as a farm. But all the work that you've done on the land that for themselves, and you put a lot of work into it, both from a relationship standpoint and a land management standpoint. So I get it. That's great. It's fantastic. But I say, what are you going to do for the next 25 years? How are you going to manage that land? And I kept asking that question over and over again. And the humble answer was there was really not a lot of response. So I say, do you have a plan to manage that land? So let's just take a look at something here. Let me share a document that I put together. And you can see this document. It's just basically a land ownership transition timeline. And this is all data from the USDA about what's happening over a 25 year, which, as we all know, 25 years isn't that long. We're in that early transition stage. So that's, I think, why when I asked that question, it locked individuals up a little bit. Like, well, yeah, right. We probably do need to start working on that plan. And if you take one thing away from this conversation, is start working on that plan today. And we have some technology that can help here at Oaken, but certainly want this land to be in your family's and your farm's control for that next 25 or 30 years. But we're in that early transition stage. We're in that 5 to 10% of farmland being transferred. So you're already kind of feeling that, okay, how do we interact with that next generation of grower? These landlords are aging. They're not really into a technology now like what Oaken does here at Oaken. We digitize this entire lease management process. So you can see that this would be very important for that kind of next generation that's coming into the land. But this aging landlord piece, it's just a transition. They still want checks, delivered to them. They still want you to sit down and have a cup of coffee with them, deliver them paperwork and all those sort of things. But this is soon fleeting, very quickly, right? This generational shift is soon fleeting, and it's going to be the rise, and you're already seeing this, of more trusts. So more people that you have to act with, or different entities out there, land ownership entities that you're going to have to deal with. And how do you do that strategically, where you were dealing with one or two individuals, and now you have to deal with four or five or six? Our technology can help you with that. I'm going to show you that at the very, very end, just real quickly. But now, once you start moving out of 2030, which when you think about it, is only 4 years, less than 4 years away, you're going to get this accelerated phase of just land transfer, right? And acceleration of estate settlements. And okay, then you're going to have to start asking yourself, well, they do a good job of planning with that next generation of landowner? Do I have the technology to be able to do that? And how do I do that when they're scattered, they love the farm, but they haven't been on the farm for years. But I still need to give them a lot of information about what I'm doing on the farm, all those management pieces that I've done over the years, what I continue to do, drone footage, pictures of me harvesting or planting their crops. All maybe it's a profit and loss statement that you're sharing with them. All those kind of things. How do you do that broadly when all those now heirs are everywhere, right? So you're either going to be have that's going to come down to two situations. You're going to do a really good job of planning for that next generation of landowner, or there's going to be a buyout. And then, what could happen? You might have the opportunity to buy it, which is something you can put into your leases. I think that's a good idea. But the other side of the coin is then you may lose that ground, from when the heirs just decide to sell, and then that is impacting your, hundreds of thousands of dollars potentially impact to your farming operation. So by 2025 or 2035, 2045, you're going to see this peak turnover phase where a whole bunch of land is going to be turning over, right? And you're going to have a way to scale and systematically handle all this turnover and be able to say, hey, I can do this, and here's how I'm managing your land, and here's the modern techniques I'm using, right? Probably paper, hand delivered checks. Everybody's going to want ACH or do it digitally and have things digitally at their footprint, at their fingertips. So this peak turnover is going to happen very fast, and then by 20. So there'll be these large block deals, more, of course, more trust, more LLCs, more people that you're going to have to deal with during this peak transfer phase, which is that 2035, 2045. And then by 2045, 2050, this huge generational shift in land ownership and wealth will stabilize. But now we're into a modern market, right? Now we're figuring out how we can now operate in this modern market. So it'll stabilize, but maybe there'll be different lease types that you'll need to create, multiple land ownership entities. Maybe it's the trusts for, the initial four or five people that are on that trust. And now you've got, sub trustees that you have to deal with, and you've got to make payments to them. Our technology breaks out all those payments and figures it out for you. So there's just a lot. I wanted to share this timeline, and, I encourage you to start to thinking about that because we all know that time moves very fast. Okay. So with that, I am going to stop sharing this. Apologize for that. Okay, so here is our technology that we have. Oaken is a complete digital technology that allows you to have this information at your fingertips. It's cloud-based, also mobile on your phones, where you can track all your leases, track all your payments. The system, you'll never miss another lease renewal. You'll never miss another payment. And on top of that, it manages those relationships. So a dashboard here, which keeps track of all your upcoming work and events and all the leases that are due. Um, it keeps track of birthdays as well. Notes that you can take. If someone calls you, you can take a note on your phone. You can talk into your phone and send it right to that landowner or right into Oaken. Then you can share it with your landowner. Very helpful to be able to do that. It keeps track of who you have talked to. All of your leases are in here now digitally. Not only does it keep track of, like I said, when the leases come due, but all the payments, and it breaks out all those payments to all those individuals, and lots of documentation. You can put drone footage in here. You can put a lot of other information in here. Now, we talked about earlier about, okay, how do I keep track of relationships? And I'm just going to jump right into that. So if you have a lease that you're, paying and you're visiting Rick Sherwood, who's the father of this lease, but here are all the other entities associated with that lease to include their kids, grandkids, all that. This is where you can start to build the plan out of Oaken and say, hey, can I start sharing the lease information, or can I start sharing the improvements that I'm making to your property with Ron and Seth and some of these others? And they're going to be like, yeah. So what does that do? That allows you to maintain that land. Again, nothing is 100%, but it allows you to maintain a high level of trust, not only with the current generation of landowner, and as that next generation scales and goes faster, you can now keep track of the land and start to have interactions with those next generations, right? And you're doing it in a digital fashion because we all know that the next generation is more digitally savvy, and that this kind of technology will just make you look extremely professional from a land, not that you aren't today, but the land professional. It'll give you a high level of professionalism in the way that you're managing your land and be able to, I'll show you how you can share information with them. So there's a lot of information here that I'm not hitting on because I just want to keep this short. Land portfolio, all your leases. You can see every single lease that's active, that's expired, that you're working on. Seamlessly change the lease, share the lease, change the lease terms. So no more all of high levels of paperwork, back office work. We have customers that tell us, this has taken what they've done, hundreds of hours, or whatever to get this, manage the leases, manage relationships, manage the paperwork down to just a few hours. This is the kind of powerful technology that this system has. Um, on top of that, um, we have a mapping system so you can see all of your fields where the leases are. The payments, right? I talked about that, but this keeps track of all your payments, everything that's coming due. Also, you can do a filter here and say, okay, how much do I need to have in my bank account for the next 3 months? We tell you that, and you can go down here and say, okay, I need to have 338,000 in my bank for to cover these leases that are coming due. Again, you'll never miss a lease payment, never miss a lease renewal, and those sort of things. Not only does our system manage not only those lease renewals and the and the payments, but it also manages other workflows like if you have to pay the taxes on a certain time or you have to get paperwork to the USDA office, you can do all of that through this system. And it'll remind you of when those things are due. It's nice for that next generation that may be coming onto your farm to be able to see not only all the leases, the relationships, but oh yeah, taxes are due at this time, insurance is due at this time. Got to make these chemistry orders, got to make these seed orders. All those things happen, and you can put that in the system, and they get reminders of when these things are due. So again, they'll never get missed, never get dropped. In the setting side, I'm going to end with this. So we talked about, okay, how do we manage all the different relationships that are going to be part of the land ownership. Well, with Oaken, you can create a login that has your information in here. Let me find one that has, let me go back here and go to this one. This one might have some data in it. And you get a preview. So not only do you see that, can the customer see this is a preview, so you're in 100% control, so they can see the lease, they can log in and see all the payments, and then all documentation to include movies or whatever you want to include into them that you can share with them. So what does that mean? Back to building that plan. So with Oaken, you can share all this information, or you don't have to. You're in 100% control of what you share. You can create these land asset experiences for all those different land entities that own the land now. You're able to put that into this land asset, and they can see everything you're doing. So it builds a high level of trust. It builds a visibility on what you're doing on their farm, so there's no secrets, and everybody can see that information. Maybe it's the 3, the 4, the 5 entities that you're working with can see all that information. No one else is doing this in the industry by digitizing land leases. This is 100% ag focused platform. Again, it's in your control. We don't aggregate any of the data. We do have AI, but that's for your own purposes, for your own data that's on the system. And those kind of things allow you to know do a lot of different things with AI on the system. So, but this allows you to build that plan for the next 20 years. If you have any questions about Oaken, please reach out to me via email. I'm on the web, on our website at oaken.ag. There's more information about customer testimonials on YouTube at OakenAg. And yeah, I'd be happy to help you build out your plan. And this makes it easy. It makes it very efficient and allows you to scale and show up differently in the marketplace, whether you have 5 leases or 300 leases. The system works it for you and makes it easier for you. So thank you for this time. If you have any other ideas or if you have any other opportunities on how to build that plan, but my takeaway is here for you, and my challenges for you is like I said, when we started to have a lot of conversations with folks across the United States, late in 2025 and all through 2026, build that plan. build that plan so that land stays in your control. We encourage you to do it digitally so that not only do you have all that information at your fingertips. We had an individual that said they had all their leases, they had all the payments, they had all that information on their relationships in their office, and their office caught fire. The barn caught fire where their office was, lost all that documentation. You won't do that. This is a digitized system. It's your system. Once Oaken sets it up, we back out of it. It's a pure management system. We don't care what you pay for leases. We don't negotiate leases. This is a strictly lease land management system for your operation. And with that, again, Ron Dunker, I'm the head of business development. Please reach out to me on oaken.ag and we can book a demo and I can go much deeper into a lot of these different great tools that will help you build that plan. Thank you so much for calling in today. Have a great day.